Okay then guys, time to replace the wing. Wings are nice and safe, ready for us to use. I tend to find on a lot of cars now there's not a great deal of corrosion protection there. There's no wax sprayed on the back, there's no stone chip behind there. I'm guessing we follow manufacturers' methods, that's what they recommend. If you've no data, I still prefer to, if I'm placing a new part, spray some anti-corrosion materials in there. And before I offer this up, we're going to assume that's a nicely painted door. This is a nicely painted new wing. We've got lots of sticky out bits that could really easily scratch that. Okay, so before I offer this wing up, I'm going to take a little bit of masking tape and hope this is quite obvious what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. A couple of pounds versus a few £100 for repainted a scratch door. I'll grab a bolt and make that available. And if we remember, when we took this wing off, a couple of bolts at the top. We had this little bolt sat behind the door, that's the one I'm worried about scratching. One that we got from the back of the door, and then a one underneath. So the trick here, we've got this little trim on this particular car that sits down the side of the glass. So the trick here is to try and offer this wing up without scratching the door, nice and gentle, just paying attention to all these little plastic trims here and there and seeing how that sits. I think we got away with that without scratching anything, which is always a bonus. And again, let's have the one bolt in there, hand tight if possible, so we can confidently let go of that and not worry. Now the wing's on, might be premature here, but I'm going to peel this tape off so I can check my gap, and again would have trapped that behind there if I'd left it. And away we go. Let's get these nuts and bolts popped in there. I think one of those is for the bonnet. And again, these evidence marks typically give us a really good indicator on where these should go. General rule of thumb, every bolt or fastening, nut, clip, screw, whatever it is, needs to be in hand tight, and you get no nasty surprises when you're trying to build things up. That's at the bottom, and that can go down there. So I'm going to get another extension, because I know when I open this door I'm going to have a little bit of a reach to that bolt behind there. And again, there's nothing wrong with just poking your head around as you open this door to make sure you're not catching anything. That would be a bit of a rubbish day out. Again, let's not tighten that up, let's make sure that we can actually manoeuvre the wing when we're setting it up if need be. Really careful around here. In fact, if I'm looking, somebody's caught that once upon a time. Careful again when we close that, and we'll just pop that on there. Let's not forget this little one down here. That feels like it wants to go in skew it, so just be careful. That'll do. And then this one there. That grubby one looks like it's suitable. Okay, so the gap I was always taught to get first is this back one. That looks quite tight, but I think that probably is how they are. If you're ever unsure, try to remember what it was like before, or have a quick look at the other side. And that is really quite a tight gap. A couple of mil, 2.5 mil maybe. Let's have a look at our evidence marks. And I think, how well you can see that through the camera, I think there, our length, if you like, or backwards and forwards motion is probably about right. So I'll just pinch that. So the next thing to consider is our height. Same as the door before, is any adjustment up and down, a slight amount, not a great deal. That is up a touch, which again for our wind noise isn't a bad thing. Oh, I think the camera and that mirror are just clashing, so I'll move that. Or maybe you could take my word for it. There we go, again just pinch gently and still checking we're not going to get any clashing. And I would probably do the bolt inside there first. You can see I've set that so it's ever so slightly proud. And I just like to grab hold of the wing at the bottom, because it can move ever so slightly as you try to tighten things up. So if we can brace that, just nipped. And yep, that's held itself nicely. And underneath, as you can see, that rocks around, and that kind of alter the gap quite a bit. But I'm happy with that so far. Nothing's pinned to death, nothing's been tightened to within an inch of its life. It's all fairly loose. You can see how easy it is to manoeuvre that. Yeah, pop it on those evidence marks. This one's a little bit tighter to get into. Nipped, nipped, nipped. I know I've done those three, so there should be just this one down here. Nipped. So that should be a nice gap. I'm happy with that. Depending on how you view it, that could look a touch wide, but I think we'll go okay with that. So the next obvious one is the bonnet, and we know that's shut quite nicely. We could slam it and hope, or we could just gently lower this down like so, and I would say that's a nice gap for one of these cars. Very similar to the other side. Height's nice. Positioning lengthwise is nice, and the width, again, if I was being hypercritical, I'd say that was a fraction wide, but the other side's a fraction wider, so I think we're definitely within manufacturer specifications there. Pop this bonnet open again, and just double check we've tightened all those bolts properly. And just nip that, nip that, nip that. We don't need to swing off of any of these. There we go. The bottom one last for here. And again, if we'd just done this for real, with new panels that were painted, now would be a perfect opportunity to scrounge, beg, borrow, steal a little bit of paint that the painters have mixed up, and just gently touch these exposed heads in, and a little bit of lacquer afterwards, just to seal the bit once the base coat's dried. And that keeps things looking really tidy, and it also keeps the anti-corrosion properties there.